Alright, this stitch is done in a chain of 15 plus 2, and it is a 7-row repeat. So first, we got our chain. I did 17. That's my 15 plus 2. So we need to pull up our foundation row, and with Tunisian crochet, we pull up our foundation row in the back. We go from the second chain from our hook. So 1, 2, flip it over, and you'll work in the back bumps, pulling up your loops. And you'll do that all the way down to the end, and we will do a standard return pass. So go ahead and pull up all your loops in the back. So now that you have your foundation loops pulled up, you will do a standard return pass. And to do a standard return pass, you'll just yarn over, chain 1, and then you'll yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, repeating that step of yarn over and pulling through 2 until you only have 1 loop left on your hook. So the stitch we're doing today is the modified arrowhead lace stitch. The non-modified arrowhead lace stitch has cables in it, and I will not be doing cables with this stitch today. So now we have our foundation row up, we can start our pattern right away. We're into row 1 of the 7-row repeat. Remember, the edge stitches, this edge stitch and the edge stitch on the opposite side, they do not count in these patterns. That is our plus 2 on our chain. And you'll see from the graph, I have changed the colors of the yarn over simple stitch 2 together to red. The reasoning for that is I wanted to denote and have it stand out that this is a double yarn over. And what that means is we'll go yarn over 1 and yarn over twice. And then we're going to be simple stitching 2 stitches together. So we'll be stitching this stitch and this stitch together. Never work on this side or the opposite side. So you'll put your needle through the 2, 1 and 2. You'll yarn over and pull up your stitch through those 2. That is simple stitching 2 together. Then we're going to do a simple stitch. And then we'll yarn over twice, so 1 and 2. And we're simple stitching 2 together. So there's 1 and there's number 2. Yarn over and pull through the 2. Now we'll be doing 5 simple stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we're going to simple stitch 2 together, so 1 and 2, yarn over, pull up your loop. And then we're going to do 2 yarn over, so 1 and 2. And then we're going to do 1 simple stitch. Then we're going to do a simple stitch 2 together, 1 and 2, yarn over, pull up your loop, and then yarn over twice, 1 and 2. And then we're going to go through our edge stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. And it's a standard return pass. So now that we have our edge stitch up, we can start our return pass. And it is a standard return pass. You'll yarn over and chain 1. And then you're going to yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Repeating that step all the way down. Pay attention to your yarn overs because they will slide around, as you can see there. So you may have to put your finger. So yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Repeating that step all the way down till you only have 1 loop left on your hook. And I will see you for row 2 of the 7-row repeat. So now we're on to row 2 of the 7-row repeat. we will be, just so you know, with these double yarn overs, you're counting them as one complete stitch. So that even though this is a yarn over and this is a yarn over, count it on the next forward pass as one complete stitch. So we're going to start now with row 2 of the 7-row repeat. We're going to start with a full stitch. Go into the gap, yarn over, and pull up that stitch. So now that just cleared all this out of our way. Then we're going to double yarn over 1 and 2, and we're going to simple stitch 2 together. And what we're going to simple stitch 2 together is this vertical bar and the next vertical bar, which was our simple stitch. So this is the vertical bar from the previous rows, double yarn over and simple stitch 2 together. We're going to borrow it because this full stitch took out our double yarn overs, since we're counting those as one stitch. Now we have our full stitch up, and then we yarn over twice. We're going to simple stitch 2 together. So 1, and we're going to go right into that simple stitch from the previous row, yarn over and pull up our loop. Then we have a full stitch. So our full stitch, and it takes care of those double yarn overs because we're counting those as one. And then we're going to yarn over twice, 1 and 2, and go through the next 2 vertical bars, 1 and 2. Then we'll yarn over and pull up our loop. Now we need to do 3 simple stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Now what we're going to do is we're going to simple stitch 2 together. So 1 and 2, yarn over and pull those up, yarn over twice, 1 and 2, and then we're going to go right into this gap and pull up our full stitch. And then we're going to simple stitch 2 together, 1 and 2, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over twice, so 1 and 2, and then go into the gap and pull up our full stitch. And then we just do our end stitch. So we do a standard return pass, which is chain 1, and then we'll yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, repeating that step until you only have the 1 loop left on your hook, and then I will meet you for row 3 of the 7-row repeat. Alright, so now we're on row 3 of our 7-row repeat. The very first stitch is that long stitch. That long stitch is your full stitch from prior, so you'll just pull up a simple stitch into that. We have a gap, so we need to do our full stitch next. And since we're treating the 2 yarn overs from the row prior as one stitch, that full stitch just filled that in for us. And then we need to yarn over twice, so 1 and 2, and go through the next 2 vertical bars. We're simple stitching 2 together. The next 2 vertical bars will be from the double yarn over, simple stitch 2 together, and the full stitch from the row below. So you'll yarn over and pull up your loop. And then we have a full stitch, and then we're going to yarn over twice, so 1 and 2, and we're simple stitching 2 together, 1 and 2, yarn over, pull up that loop, and then we're just going to do 1 simple stitch. Then we're going to simple stitch 2 together, yarn over twice, so 1 and 2, and a full stitch. Again, with these double yarn overs, we're counting them as one stitch. Now we're going to go into the next vertical bar. Don't be fooled by this. This is not a vertical bar. For this purposes, this is not a vertical bar. So we're going to go through 1 and 2, yarn over and pull up our loop, 1 and 2 yarn overs. Then we have a full stitch and a simple stitch, and then our end stitch. Yarn over and pull up that loop, and then you do a standard return pass. So you'll chain 1, then you'll yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you'll repeat that action all the way down to the end, and I will see you at the beginning of row 4 of the 7-row repeat. So for row 4, we will start with 2 simple stitches. So you'll simple stitch 1 and number 2. Then we have a gap, so we'll be doing a full stitch in there. Then we're going to yarn over twice, so 1 and 2. And we're going to simple stitch 2 together. 1 and 2. Yarn over, pull up that loop. And then we're going to do a full stitch. And then we're going to do 3 simple stitches. Again, do not get fooled by the yarn overs. So here's 1 simple stitch, 2, and number 3. And then we're going to do a full stitch. And we're going to simple stitch 2 together, 1 and 2, yarn over, pull up that loop, and then we're going to yarn over twice. So there's 1 and there's 2. We have a gap, so we'll be doing a full stitch and then 2 simple stitches, 1 and 2. Then we do our edge stitch and our standard return pass, which is chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, repeating that step all the way down to the end until you have the 1 loop left on your hook. And I will meet you for row 5 of the 7-row repeat. So now we're on to row 5 of the 7-row repeat. We're going to start with 3 simple stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. The last simple stitch will go into a full stitch from the row prior. Then we're going to do a full stitch. Yarn over twice, so 1 and 2, and we're simple stitching 2 together. Remember, it's the vertical bars. It will be the vertical bar from a simple stitch 2 together from the row prior and a full stitch from the row prior. Yarn over and pull through both. And then 3 simple stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to simple stitch 2 together, which is the full stitch from the row prior, and simple stitch 2 together from the row prior. So you'll yarn over and pull up your loop through those 2, and then you'll yarn over twice, so 1 and 2, and do a full stitch into the gap. And then we have 3 simple stitches. Your first simple stitch will go into the full stitch from the row prior. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Then we'll do our end stitch. Yarn over, pull up that loop. Yarn over, chain 1 for you start your return pass. And it's a standard return pass. So you'll yarn over and pull through 2. You'll yarn over, pull through 2, repeating that step all the way down to the end till you have 1 loop left on your hook. And I will meet you for row 6 of the 7-row repeat. Alright, so now we're on to row 6 of the 7-row repeat. We're going to start with 4 simple stitches. 1, 2, 3, and your last simple stitch will go into that full stitch from the row prior, and there's number 4. Then we have the gap, so we need to do a full stitch, yarn over twice, 1 and 2, and we're going to simple stitch 2 together in our vertical bars. So there's 1 and there's number 2, yarn over and pull up that loop. 1 simple stitch, and then we're going to simple stitch 2 together, 1 and 2, yarn over and pull up that loop, and then we're going to yarn over twice, so 1 and 2. Then we have the gap, so we need to do a full stitch, and then we have 4 simple stitches left. The first one will be in a full stitch from the row prior, so that's 1, 2, 3, and number 4. And then you'll do your edge stitch or end stitch, yarn over, pull up that loop, and then we'll start our standard return pass, which is yarn over, chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, repeating that process all the way down to the end, and I will meet you for row 7 of the 7-row repeat. So now for row 7 of the 7-row repeat. We will be doing 5 simple stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we'll be doing 1 full stitch because we have the gap. Then 3 simple stitches, vertical bars. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to do a full stitch. And then we have 5 simple stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we have our end stitch. And then it's a standard return pass, so you'll chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, all the way down to the end until you have 1 loop left on your hook. And then you could just repeat rows 1 through 7 to continue with your pattern for as long as you want. I'm going to go off camera and do a few more repeats, and then we'll come back and I will show you how to close this stitch off. So this is what your stitch looks like after you've done the repeat. As you can see, the arrows, this is what the back looks like. But let's go ahead and close this stitch off. You're going to want to do it after you've done row 7. Row 7 is a lot easier to close off. So you're going to do it as a simple stitch close off. So you'll just pull up your loop like you would a simple stitch and slip it off. You only want that 1 loop left on your hook, and you're going to do that all the way down. And you're going to treat the full stitch from the row prior as a simple stitch, and you'll just slip them off. Here's that full stitch from the row prior. You'll just pull up like you're doing a simple stitch and just slip it off. And again, you'll do that all the way down. If you found this tutorial helpful, please consider giving me a like and subscribe, and maybe even sharing me out. And leave me a comment. I do like to chit chat with it. And as always, folks, keep stitching.